I don't. Did you? I don't know. Like, there. She's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigars.
Don't be an asshole today. No worries. Tret Fure. Fury. What is going on? You're everywhere. I mean, to pin you down to do this was like crazy.
Well, I mean, I just started touring in the beginning of the month, after a long hiatus. I mean, I did a short tour in Florida last November before Omicron, and I did one show in January and one show in February, and that was it until the beginning of April. And then I've been on the road most of April, and I will be on the road a lot of May and a little bit in June, and then a couple festivals, and I'll be home again.
You know what though? Thank God. Thank God. That was getting a little rough. I mean, for those of us
Yeah, I mean,
that were
it's still
missing
rough.
live music,
It's still rough. I've got family members that have COVID right now, so
oh,
it's not
well,
over yet. But I'm trying
yeah,
to be
it's
careful.
not. And there, I just saw a little something about more subvariants coming about, and I'm like,
Yep.
oh God.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's hitting close to home. Even JD was supposed to be here, my musician co-host from Florida, but her mom's in the hospital. Thank God not with COVID, but
Oh God,
she
yeah.
had a little bit of a family emergency, and
Yeah.
let her
Gotcha.
we let her off the hook for these things because family,
It's kind of important. Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
yeah. um, so where are you now? I forgot. Were you in Illinois?
I'm in Madison, Wisconsin right now.
Wisconsin. Okay.
Yeah, I'm.
Okay.
I've got a few days between weekends. I was in the Minnesota last weekend, and I'm headed to Chicago on Friday. Chicago and Wisconsin and Milwaukee, and then
Oh, that's fun. That's fun.
yeah, and then I
I
go home for 9 days. Yeah.
a nice. I'm sure you're married, correct? You're married.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and I miss my wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the wife is like, okay, yay.
Yeah.
I noticed that you, like, because I love the fact that you still post in the lesbian lounge, and I always get those, and I always go, look at that, fantastic. But
Mhm.
I remember seeing something about, was it Stone by Stone?
Yep.
You were like putting music out in 2021, where the rest of us were sitting at home with our finger up our nose.
Well, yeah. I mean, I actually recorded the album in the fall of 2020.
Okay.
I mean, I had this music, and I had some of it was pandemic related, some not, some I had already had, and I thought, well, I'm just. And the funny thing is, like when everything shut down in March, I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to fundraise for my album because I usually do my fundraising on the road. And
Right.
I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this album. Well, I had got more support and contributions at home than I did on the road. People were very
Yeah,
kind and
people were,
generous and
we were,
cared for me.
yeah, but people were starved for
Yeah.
entertainment.
So I had a studio. My engineer has a studio that has three recording rooms. A big room where we put the drums, a medium-sized room for me, and then a little room for the bass player, so we could be isolated.
Okay.
And the control room was big enough that with masks we could be 6 feet apart because that was still the first year.
Yeah.
And so it worked great. I mean, I did an album quicker than I ever have, and I got to use a lot of different
Like,
instrumentation.
focus. Get in there.
Yeah, exactly. I
Focus.
wasn't going on the
Right.
road and coming back in the studio or anything. And then we released it at the first of 2021 because my DJ, my radio guy said we need to release it at the first of the year because then it'll play through 2021. And I ended up
Exactly.
being the number 14 number 14 album for the year in 2021. And I had a number one song in February of that year. So it was
Oh,
really,
congratulations. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
That's
it really was
amazing.
great. Really
Yeah, I
was
think
great.
we were all like just, looking, I remember JD saying that she was doing like a little bit of Facebook Live
Yeah,
stuff, to just kind of stay engaged.
yeah.
And she said, I had people from like Italy, like,
Yeah, I mean, I did a show, and I'm still doing
yeah.
live stream shows, but I did a show every 3 weeks, and starting in April of 2020. And I had people from all over the world that would show up every time. I took off a little bit in the summer because I just needed a break.
Yeah.
But and so I couldn't really tour the album. I couldn't play the same music every show.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
ended up creating, like, I went through my entire songbook pretty much over the course of the 2 years. And so I relearned a lot of songs, and it brought people back each time because they knew I wasn't going to do the same show.
Right.
So,
Right.
I had regulars, and I still do, people that are just waiting. And my next live stream show isn't until June. And I got people that are already, sending me money for, buying tickets.
Oh, that's
So,
amazing.
yeah, it
Yeah,
really
you've
is.
got hardcore followers and fans, and I
I
love that.
do. I'm
I
very
love that. But
fortunate.
what an
Very
interesting
fortunate.
idea to kind of go back and play, the
Yeah,
old
I
stuff,
did, like,
relearn it,
I did
you know.
theme shows. I did, like, what was it? It was well, one show I did one song from every album, up to 10 songs, because I couldn't do more than that. So I did one song from 10 of my 17 albums.
That's
Another
amazing.
show I did a three-part series of, I think it was requests, but I'm not, no, it wasn't. I've done request shows, but I can't even remember now. But I did themed. I did a three-part themed show. Like one was love song, one was family, one was politics, or whatever. So
Oh,
I kept it, I just mixed it up and kept it interesting so that people would be engaged. And I got to
exactly.
really I have embraced live stream concerts. I enjoy it. Where a lot of people say, "Oh, I hate having to sit in front of
You
the
know
computer."
what? I will tell you this. I am embracing being a live stream audience member.
Yeah,
I I love it.
yeah. I
I
mean, it's
love
great.
being
It's
able to sit
something that's
around.
it's
You don't know whether I'm wearing pants or not.
that's right.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
do my
drink if
shows
you
as
want to
if I
drink,
were.
it's
Yeah,
just
exactly. And I do my shows as if I'm in concert. I stand, I get dressed up, like I would on
yeah.
stage. I stand, so I'm not just sitting playing. I make sure it's a real show, and then my wife monitors the chat because I won't
Oh,
look
you
at a
can't do
chat
both.
when I'm
Yeah,
doing
that's
a show.
fantastic.
Yeah, so
That's
it really has
fantastic.
become a special thing, throughout the.
Oh, that's really you
Yeah,
know what? It's smart and it's interesting and you're right. It does keep people coming back. You
yeah,
know, I
it
I
does.
I feel like I got myself into a little bit of a loop, of watching the same people and the
Yeah,
same stuff. And I thought, the internet is massive. There's
I
so much
know.
to see,
Yeah, so
like I could
much. I
just
know.
type in whoever my favorites are and literally find something that
Yeah,
someone's doing because we're all stuck at home.
yeah,
So yeah, it
exactly.
was it was
Yeah.
really it was nuts. And it was around that time, I think that's when JD contacted me, back in 2020 and said, "Hey, I'm thinking of doing a podcast.
Hmm.
What do you say?" Because,
Yeah.
I'd done the lesbian lounge for so long and then I took a break and
Uh-huh.
I liked producing other people's things.
Right.
It
Yeah.
was a way to hear what was happening out there and get it up
Definitely.
on our audio feed and people would promote it. And, it was just, something to do.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was around that time that JD said, let's do this, man. Like we'll pool our resources and,
Right.
like we love having musicians on. We just had Melissa Farrick on last week.
Oh, great.
Um,
Awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
she's awesome.
that was a whole circle back thing again. And I
Yeah.
feel like, it's like sometimes you draw a blank. You're like, because I just like I don't put any limitations down. I go after who I want.
Right. Yeah.
Like I
Gotcha.
just like didn't just randomly message you and be like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, how do you feel about this? But yeah, I like doing that. And I just like you don't know if you're gonna hit a home run unless you step up to the plate,
That's
so
right.
yeah.
Exactly.
And then we
Yeah.
had a big full bag of connections from the lesbian lounge. And, I'm
Yeah.
the type of person that I like to keep those going. Like even when I wasn't doing the podcast, I still wanted to see what people were up to and what their
Sure.
projects were and all that kind of stuff. And, it just like it allows us to come back because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think we had you on our show back in 2009, 2010.
Might have been. Yeah. I
Yep.
can't remember since COVID, all the years run together.
I know,
I used
right?
to pinpoint every little gig and every place I
Yeah,
ate and
now
every
it's all
stage. And now
meshed.
it's like,
Yeah.
where was I?
Yeah, but I remember, I remember because back then I wasn't doing the music stuff. Donna was, And I
Uh-huh.
remember her being so excited
Right.
and playing, your songs for us so that, we
Right.
knew when,
Yeah.
before we got you on. And then,
Great.
when we got you involved with the Lesbian Lounge page,
Hmm.
I feel like, people that may have missed the show or whatever, were still able,
Yeah.
to get to know you, and they
Right.
always love
Exactly.
your stuff. Like yeah, I'm so happy when I see you putting something in there. I'm like,
Oops.
yeah, that's how this thing works,
Right. Exactly.
getting
Yep.
the word out. And I wanted to ask you, tell me a little bit about the Ukraine Now YouTube video.
Oh, well, that's a song that was written by my dear friend John McCutcheon and Tom Paxton. I mean, I grew up listening to Tom Paxton, so to be able to work with him and know him is like it's like your life, your dreams can come true. You
Yeah,
know, but
yeah,
John, I met John through music as well, and he was the president of Local 1000 for many years, and he turned the mantle over to me. So we're always in touch. And they had written this song called Ukrainian Now. And then all of a sudden I got an email from John saying Noel Paul Stuckey wants to do a video and would you be involved? We have to do it quickly because it's time sensitive. And I said, of course I want to be involved.
yeah,
And so all these people, I sang through the whole song, sang some harmonies, sang some bits and pieces of melody, and I knew that with the number of people, because it was Emma's Revolution, it was Chris Matthews, it was Peter Yarrow, it was Tom, it was Noel Paul Stuckey, it was Christine Lavin, I'm trying to think of Bill Miller, a couple other people. And so and then he used so many images from Ukraine. So there were just, sparks of people coming in and out. And Joe Jenks was, too. And
yeah,
then yeah, it was just a, fabulous thing. I'm at the very end singing I mean, I sang through the whole thing, but
mhm.
the visuals at the end and the choruses. But and I'm not sure what they're doing in terms of fundraising with it. It's just recently been released, and I'm sure there's going to be stuff coming out of it.
Yeah,
But
and let everybody
uh,
know. It's like you can find it on YouTube, and I will
yeah,
definitely put the link in when we
yes,
get the
please
show
do
up,
because
because
it's a
it,
powerful
it
piece.
is
It's
powerful. I
really
was just gonna
powerful.
say it's really, really,
Yeah,
it's powerful without like some of the images I've been seeing, are so intense that they're hard to look at, but
yeah,
this is
yeah.
powerful in a different way.
Yeah, but it's
It's the
tender too.
collaboration.
It's the
Yeah,
tenderness of the separation of people. But I mean, I just found it to be incredibly moving the way he
it,
put it
it really
together.
is. It
You
really,
know,
really is. It's such
yeah.
a great thing to be involved in. I think everybody's like kind of looking, what can I do? What can I do? We're always looking at
Yeah, we're all
to
trying.
go
I
right.
donated the last live stream show I did. I donated 50% of the proceeds to the food the food centers in Ukraine to try to
Yeah,
feed people. And
yeah.
I'm
We've
doing a
been,
concert later in the month in Ann Arbor, and it's a benefit for Fem Fund. And
oh,
Fem
nice.
Fund is a an international organization, but right now they're focusing on the women of Ukraine. So all the money that's being raised. All the money that comes in for that show will go to Fem Fund. So,
Oh, that's wonderful.
little things we can do.
Yeah,
I wish we could do more, but
exactly.
we're
That's
doing
how
what we can.
we do the same thing. We do the same thing. We were looking at like, in the area, like, are there centers that are collecting things, to take to Poland, and,
Right,
and
right.
then we donate to, Rain Dove is a LGBTQ model, and
Uh-huh.
has an amazing, is working with an amazing company that is driving people out, like helping them get
Yeah,
to Ukrainian occupied territories, and
right.
they
Yeah.
post their little success stories so you can actually see your money
Oh,
at work.
that's
It's
great.
like,
That's
yeah,
great. And that's the important thing. It's knowing where to contribute, where the money is really going to get to the people. And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a tricky thing in a lot of these
It is,
organizations.
because no matter what's going on in the world, a scammer will find a way to
Yeah,
make money
well,
off
it's
of
like
it.
the COVID relief. Look at all the money that was
Yeah, yeah,
completely misspent
yeah,
and went to,
yeah.
that stuff just happens. So,
It just takes a second, to do a little research
yeah.
before hitting donate,
Yeah, I
do a
know.
little research, make sure you know where it's going.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the video that you guys made in the song is just
Yeah.
amazing. I was
Yeah.
so
It really is.
moved by it. Yeah, it was one of the things I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask about that. I'm going to ask about
Yeah,
that, because it
definitely.
was hard. Like, you know, I noticed that watched a concert for Ukraine over here in London, like that on BBC or something.
Mhm.
And they had put together that there was a young man in a bomb shelter playing a violin, and
Right.
people from all over the world were playing that
Oh
song, and they
yeah.
were putting the images up
Yeah.
so it looked like they
Yeah.
were all playing together. And it was like one of those things that just took your breath away.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
the cool thing, I think it's great in some ways, but we all found a way to get through COVID,
Yes.
and we
Yes.
all found a way to be able to see the people we care about and communicate with them, even if we couldn't be with them, and I
Right.
think
Yeah. I mean,
it,
these tools are magnificent. Really, we have grown in our ability to engage each other.
yeah,
And that's video would have never come together if we weren't
right,
learning how
right,
to do multiple Zoom stuff and yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it really that's the upside of COVID
yeah,
is that
right.
we've gotten more tools and more ways that we can get the word out to people about stuff, about
Yeah.
politics, about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, every time we have a musician on, JD always says, like, how are you selling your music nowadays?
Mm,
Because, she was old school with the CDs in the trunk and the merch table,
yeah.
at the live
Yeah.
music, and people aren't buying CDs anymore, and everything is just streamable, it's
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's like, if someone would have told you 15 years ago, we're not going to be putting out CDs anymore, like, would you have even thought, like, what?
No, no,
Yeah,
no. I mean, and it's been a while that, I swore, I said I would never buy a car without a CD player, but what are you going to do? I had to get a
right,
new car. I had to, but I sell a lot of CDs. In fact, I was amazed at how many CDs I've sold this run. But, partly it's because even though this album has been out for a year and a half, it's my CD release tour, and
right,
people are buying the music. But I also educate people and tell them, if you don't buy the CDs, if you just stream, we don't get any money.
right.
People don't. I mean, people are like shocked when I
They
tell
don't
them
get that.
how
Yeah,
little I make off of 1,000 plays, and they're like, "What?" And so I say, even if you throw the CD in the drawer or give it to someone who does listen to CDs, buy the music, because if you don't, we won't be able to continue to make the music.
it's true. It's
So
really
and
true.
it's like eye-opening for people, and then they run up and they buy my download cards, or they'll buy a CD and say, I don't have a player, but I'll buy the CD.
Yeah.
And
And people want to have something to sign. Like,
yes, they do.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
it
the
is.
last of the artwork
I
too.
know.
So
I never thought that I would be saying it's old school,
yeah, I know, I know.
but
Yeah, I
it
know. I'm
kind of
trying to
is,
decide if I'm going to do a CD my next album or just do download, and I just kind of hate that I have to make that decision. Even.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's, you're right about, like how, I mean, I think promotion wise, yeah, it's about the same, but like you said, how do you continue to make money to continue
Yeah,
to make music,
yeah. If they don't buy the music,
tough.
yeah,
Yeah, it's tough. It's really,
it is.
it changed. We were talking about, talk about old school, like LimeWire and Napster, and when all that
Yeah,
stuff came
right.
about,
Yeah,
like, oh my God, everything took such a hard turn, you
yeah,
know. And I do remember packing up CDs, like when I moved here, not knowing what to do with them, like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
bring them, why
Right.
would I bring this? This is, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy. It feels
yeah.
like that's going to be the collectible, as
It
opposed
is.
to like our friends that are now coming all the way back around full circle and collecting vinyls.
Yeah, people say, "Well, why don't you do a vinyl?" I said, "I did vinyl for 30 years." I'll say,
Yeah,
or 20,
yeah,
20 years, I guess I did vinyl. And I don't see the spending the money, especially with my audience. They're not vinyl phobes, really.
yeah,
They
yeah.
just, they
It's
just
true.
want the
It's the
music.
important thing too. Like, don't you feel, um, especially because, like, I love how engaged you are with your listeners, like you're
Mhm.
so engaged with them. And a huge part of being successful and being able to have a career that's sustained all this time is knowing your audience,
Right, exactly.
like you know your audience.
I do. Yep,
It's
I
uh
really
it's
do.
it's
Yeah,
incredible. It's incredible.
yeah,
We were saying how PR people, you know, don't they know a way to do things, but it's not our way, and it's not,
Yeah.
they don't know
Yeah.
the audience that we have,
Yeah.
so
And interestingly too, because I work with a radio, a folk radio promoter, because I work as much in the folk world as the women's world now.
yeah,
A lot of the artists I knew were just releasing singles, and I was one of the first people. I went to my guy and I said, I have this song, and it was one of my COVID songs that came after the album was released. I said, can we just release this as a single on radio? And he says, well, DJs aren't playing singles. I said, well, just try it. And now everybody's doing singles for radio,
yeah,
So I've like put
yeah,
up 4 or 5 different songs over the course of the last 6 months. And that it gets a lot of play on, not everybody listens to the folk stations and I mean, they're not just radio, they're streamed, they're live and they're streamed, on NPR and public
yeah.
radio and independent radio. But it keeps the music out there, so I'm not having to wait 3 years to present something new to my
Right,
audience,
right.
the listeners, and that's a pretty cool thing that's happened as
Oh,
well. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And again, knowing your listeners,
Mhm.
they know where to find you, to
Yep.
listen, to hear new things, to hear, the older stuff, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Exactly. Yeah.
huge. And
Yeah.
it's crazy that, like, and I don't know about you, but we were saying how when COVID happened and venues were closed and people weren't able to play out and everything, and now they're like everything's reopening, but those venues are honoring, the canceled performers. It's
Yeah.
really hard to
Exactly.
get a spot now, and it's like starting over again,
It
like you go
is.
back to the little places while you're waiting for a bigger place to open up.
It's
Yeah,
true. It's
yeah,
tough. I mean, I've had a couple shows that were honored that were canceled in COVID, or several actually. But you're right. You're like, well, I can't really book a lot in the fall, but that's okay. I need to be home a little more because we're still at this point where people are honoring the past commitments, and then.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
know at least I'm on the list. I
yeah,
know that the
exactly, exactly.
venues have me on a list so that when
Yeah.
things start opening up
And
more.
I'm always amazed at how you are, like you just said, like in the past 6 months, four singles, like
Yeah.
what's your process for writing? Like it just hits you, or you have to settle in?
No, it hits me. It just hits me. I'm really at this point in my career, I'm an inspirational writer. I just wait for something to show up. And I teach a lot. I teach songwriting online and I teach guitar online. So I'm constantly working with other people with their musical and lyrical ideas, and it stimulates me as
That's
well.
great. Yeah,
So, but yeah, I don't have right now, I don't really have a regiment because I do teach a lot and play a lot. I mean, when I get home, I have a couple ideas I want to work on. One of them around this whole war situation, but I don't. I used to sit down, and write a whole track and then find the words and stuff. But now it's like, is it going to hit me? And it has. I mean, things keep coming, which I'm grateful for because I
yeah,
never know when it's not going to be there.
right,
I
right.
never know when I'm going to dry up. And then people say, when are you going to do a best of? And I said, when I don't have anything else to say.
Exactly. We keep that in our back pocket.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's what we're in the process of doing that now with the old lesbian lounge shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it all comes back around. That's the beauty of
Yeah.
it.
I
People
know.
don't forget the good
Definitely.
stuff. So
Yeah.
it's amazing. But so you are making your way to Chicago.
Chicago on
Yeah, let's
Friday.
talk about your schedule, because I want people to be able, now that they can see you live, get out there and do
Right.
it.
Yeah. So I'm in Downers Grove, Illinois, on Friday at a wonderful folk club called Two Way Street, and that's west of downtown. And then I go up to Mequon, Wisconsin, which is just north of Milwaukee, and it's the Wisconsin Singer-Songwriters Series.
Oh, cool.
So I'm playing for that, and then I'm going home. But while I'm home, I'm doing a concert with an online concert with Charlie King on. It would be May 15th. It'd be a Sunday. And Charlie King is one of the founders of Local 1000, the union, the folk musicians union that I've been
Oh,
part of for a long
wow.
time. So we're doing this so-called odd and unusual love songs. So we're each doing separate songs, and then we're doing duets on Zoom. So it's the back
Oh,
and forth thing.
cool. Yeah.
And then I go out again to Kalamazoo and Ann Arbor. And then Memorial Weekend, I'm at the Pam Browning Animal Sanctuary. It's a festival she does in Spencer, Indiana. It's a wonderful little festival.
Oh, wow.
And then I get to go home. My next live stream show will be on June 4th, I believe it is. It's the first Thursday in June,
Oh, great.
before I
Okay.
leave again later in the month for a couple of shows. But I'm really slowing down. July. I'm on the land, the Michigan Festival land. They're doing a lot of small festivals now. I did two last year. I did the Sobriety and Serenity Festival, and then I did Big Mouth Girl, which was Deidre Johnson's festival. And but I'm going back for this festival called Women's Performance Initiative, WPI, and it's an immersive 5-day workshop where you take workshops, and there's performance and there's jamming and all kinds of stuff. So that's very cool to be able to be on the land that the women have managed to keep, even after Mishfest ended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I go to Seattle this will be my 11th year teaching what I call boot camp
Oh,
in Whidbey Island. Colonel Greta Kammermeyer. I don't know if you know who Colonel Greta Kammermeyer is.
yes. Yes.
Serving in silence. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she hosts this. She's hosted this for the last 11 years. She's a good friend of mine, and she's got this huge house. So we do this. It's called boot camp because of her, and we eat on mess trays.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
guitar and songwriting, and I have women that have been there every year. A lot of women who've been there every year, and we've had some men too, but mostly it's women who come. And this will be our 11th year, and it's just this fantastic week, and we culminate it with a concert at her house that the whole island comes to. So that's going to carry me, into the fall, and then the fall is going to be a little bit easier. A little,
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I'll be back
That's
in Florida in
amazing.
November, but I need
That's a
some downtime.
great, that's a great pace. It's a
It
nice pace.
is. And if there's
Yeah.
one thing I've learned, I'm not taking every little bitty gig just because I feel like I have to be on the road all the time. And that's one of the things that COVID has taught us. And also the fact that I can continue to perform online for those who will never be able to hear me, because
Yeah.
I have women from Germany and New Zealand and Australia and
Right.
England and all over that come to my shows, my live stream shows. So I just feel like I'm 71 years old now, and I
Get out
don't
of here.
I don't
Are
want to
you
do
kidding
100
me?
shows. No, I am. I mean, I've been doing this a
I
long
was
time. I've been
nowhere
doing this
near
for over
that.
50 years,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I want to take a little bit more time, to be home with my family and my garden, and but
Mhm.
still be able to do what I am passionate about, and that's performing live,
Oh, that's
telling my
amazing.
stories and singing
It's
my songs.
it's great. Like I think you've got, an illustrious career. I
Yeah.
mean, like you said, I'm still
I'm,
over here going 71. Wow. Oh my God, I'm like 54 and I hate traveling. It's so grueling.
I've done it all my life, and it's what I love to do, really.
Oh man, you
Yeah.
know what? You do it well, and that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Like I
It
said,
is.
and you've got such an amazing following. They just like, and to think like all the part of it is like, people not being afraid of technology,
Yeah.
like I
Right.
had, to work with my mom a little bit on how to do video calls
Sure.
and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
and then tutor all her friends on how to do a
Uh-huh.
Zoom call together.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that was painful. But
Yeah.
the thing of it is like you have to not be afraid of it. Like I think that it's opened up a lot of people who would otherwise have been really, really
Yep.
lonely,
Oh, I think so
really
too. It
yeah,
really, it really would have. I mean, it
yeah.
really has. I mean,
It,
and even in the performance end, like I keep all my stuff is on YouTube. All my shows I do on YouTube, and I only keep the last couple up at a time. But
yeah,
every once in a while, I'll put them all up, or I put them up for my patrons for
yeah,
Patreon.
yeah,
And I was listening back, and like the first couple were like, I didn't have the sound down. We didn't back in April of 2020,
yeah.
and it was
Nobody, yeah,
thin, and the guitar was really wobbly, and it was like, oh God, I'm never putting that up again.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but by May, I had it all figured out, and only because there were so many tutorials and so many musician friends of mine who we would gather for Zoom meetings to educate each other on what's the best thing to do. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? And I
Exactly.
have a really good Neumann U87 that I bought in the early 80s when I was still engineering in LA. So I have a really high-end microphone and then a smaller one for my guitar. And so my sound, everybody says your sound is amazing. And I don't add reverb or anything. I just like it to sound like I'm singing in your living room, which is what
Yeah,
it should be like. And I'm on
that's
most
the
people's
amazing thing.
TVs anyway, so it's like
Right.
they're watching me in their living room.
It's true, but that's
Yeah.
what you want. Like that's the feel
Yes.
that you want. That's what I think everybody's getting more and more addicted to, is that it's such an intimate and personal experience
Yep.
now.
Yeah.
You're not sitting next to a guy that's spilling beer on you and someone
Exactly.
singing the
Yeah.
wrong words and over
Yes.
here. And,
Yep.
this is how we,
Yeah.
like who
Yeah.
knew? Who
I
knew we
know.
could do it all?
Yep. You're in your comfy chair or with your
It's
the with you don't
exactly.
have to buy a $12 drink. You can drink what you want at home,
That's it, right? No shitty snacks here, man. We got the gourmet stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like I think for us it was really like a welcomed. We started with they started doing National Theatre here in London, in the West End started doing plays on television where you could donate, and they
Right.
would send you the link
Yeah.
to actually see the stage performance. And
Right.
I saw so many shows that I would not have carried my
Mhm.
fat ass into London to go sit in a squishy chair and watch. So it was just like,
Yeah,
wow,
that's
we're
cool.
having culture in our homes.
Yes,
It was
exactly. It
great.
is,
Yeah, so
exactly.
this is not it's not a bad thing, and it's
No.
always good to be able to see you. This is great. I hope you never stop dropping stuff in the lesbian lounge, because I do.
Oh, I won't.
You know,
I will
we have
always do that.
that's how a
As
lot of
long as
our
I'm welcome
listeners.
to. I've had a
Yeah.
couple groups who say, don't post here anymore or something. It's like, well, I'm sorry, I do a lot of shows, but it's how
Right.
I get the word out.
Yeah.
So,
I think like our listeners have been around for so long, and even though we're not doing lesbian lounge shows anymore, they
mhm.
still remember all our guests and
Right.
people
Yeah.
that we exposed them to,
Yeah,
and
right.
they are now fans of those people, and that group stays active that way, and I love that.
That's
I mean,
great.
it's
That's
fantastic.
so
I'm
great.
I'm the one that's I forget to put stuff in there that I should be putting in there,
Yeah.
but everybody else has got it locked
Yeah.
up. It's
Yeah, it's a lot of
fantastic.
work. You gotta really go through and find all the. There's a lot of lesbian groups. There's a lot of lesbian meetup groups that I post to. And I probably spend more time doing publicity on my live stream shows than the live ones because I can reach everybody. But
Yes.
like if you send invites on Messenger, you can only do them individually. And when you
Right.
have 5,000 friends on Facebook, you can only do so many. But you spend days trying to
Yeah,
get the word out to people.
it's true.
But
It's
it,
true.
it,
Like
it
that's
matters. It's worth it.
that's a
And even if people
part-time
don't show
gig.
up, they love that I have sent them a personal message.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is like when you're doing, and JD and I talk about this all the time too, when you're doing everything yourself, it's a lot of plates. It's a lot of
Yeah,
spinning
it
plates,
is.
you're
Yep.
doing your own publicity, you're trying to get the
Yeah.
word
So,
out, you're
and
trying to
it's all time
respond to
consuming.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge, but you know what? You've got it down.
Makes a
You are
difference.
you are
Yeah.
inspirational to
Thank you.
there was a young we went to go see Hannah Gadsby on
Oh, I love her. Oh my
isn't she
God.
fantastic? We
She's
went to
amazing.
see her live on St. Patrick's Day at the Palladium in London, and she had an opening act. Her name was Grace Petrie.
Hmm.
She was an amazing. She reminded me of a young you, of what if I would have known you when you were in your 20s or 30s.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's
That's great.
exactly, yeah. She, just had
Yeah.
the look, and she had the songs, and she had the passion, and
Yeah.
we didn't know what to expect. We didn't even know there was an opener,
Right.
but
I
what
want to open for Hannah Gatsby.
right? And that's what
Yeah.
I thought. I thought the gig of a lifetime for this kid, you
Yeah,
know,
really. What a great
so
thing.
good. Yeah,
What a
look her
great
up.
thing.
Grace Petrie.
I
She's
will.
real,
I'll
really,
definitely
really
look her
good.
up. Right.
Really good. Well, listen, I love that you were able to take some time out before
Me
you
too. I'm so glad. I was getting nervous because I thought I haven't heard from her, and I had it in my calendar. I got, wait a minute, who did I talk to? Because
I
when
try and
stuff
do the
comes through
reminder.
Messenger, sometimes the messages I can't log the stuff from Messenger, so I have to
Right,
scroll and remember,
right.
and there's no title, so it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, then I remember.
And I was like, I know,
Yeah.
I always got to get the person the day before and then the afternoon
Yeah,
of, and
right.
let them know
Yeah.
it's coming.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's fantastic. Well, listen, best of luck in your
Thank you.
travels and your live
Thanks.
shows. And I just hope everybody tunes in for all that you're doing, because I love that you're doing them from home and I love that you're back on the road.
Thank you so much, Anita.
You've been an absolute joy.
Yeah, great talking to you.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Like, never stop chasing your dreams. There, see?
We drank way too much whiskey.